New Caitlin Clark book explores her rise from AAU to WNBA stardom. 3 takeaways. Award-winning USA Today sports columnist Christine Brennan has a new book out, and it centers on one of the biggest names in athletics today. On her game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports explores the meteoric rise of the former Iowa Hawkeyes star, the impact she's having on the WNBA, and her record-breaking performances on the basketball court. The unauthorized biography featuring quotes from current and former women's basketball players and coaches will be released on July 8 at book retailers for $29.99. Here are 3 takeaways from Brennan's Clark biography. Caitlin Clark getting the best of a young Peyton Sandfort growing up in AAU. The book opens with stories from Clark's AAU basketball coach Dickinson Jensen, highlighting her early dominance on the court, including one game where, as a 9th grader playing against 17-year-olds, she single-handedly scored 13 points in the final 70 seconds to erase an 11-point deficit and lead her All-Iowa attack team to victory. Another anecdote Brennan shares is when Clark faced future Hawkeye and third-team All-Big Ten selection Peyton Sandfort in a boys' youth tournament. "I was an emotional kid, like I wanted to win so bad, and I remember Clark's team beat us in the semifinals of a tournament and I was just devastated," Sandfort recalled in a February 2024 media availability. "I was like, oh my gosh, is this what all girls are like?" Notre Dame legend Caitlin Clark. Chapter 3 of the book centers around Clark's college recruitment in high school and her first 2 seasons playing for Iowa. During Clark's senior year at Dowling Catholic High School, she had initially committed to play for Coach Muffy McGraw at Notre Dame. "I remember talking to her thinking I want to coach her. I just could relate to her," McGraw is quoted in the book. "I thought we had a pretty good connection, which doesn't always happen because as I got older and kids got younger I have nothing in common with them. But with her it was different. I always came away from my conversations with her thinking, man, I really want her to come here. I think she'd be great." By November of Clark's senior year, she had decided that she would rather attend Iowa and called the 2-time national champion winning coach to tell her she was decommitting. "It sounds terrible to say because Iowa went to 2 Final Fours with her, but we would have had better players around her and she would have had more help, so it would have been different," McGraw said. "Maybe we would have won an NCAA championship. Who knows?" Jensen also recalls in the book that Clark loved the University of Oregon's campus when she visited and that she was shown around by then Ducks player and current WNBA star for the New York Liberty Sabrina Ionescu. Brennan argues that Clark staying in her home state and attending Iowa was a perfect match, and that if she had attended a perennial contender like Notre Dame or UConn, she might not have become the fearless 3-point shooter she's famous for today. "I think she would have still been a great player had she gone somewhere else, but the legend wouldn't have been the same," ESPN senior writer Michael Vopel said in the book. "She's an Iowa kid playing for Iowa, and especially in today's world of constant transferring and everything else that takes college athletes a little bit away from what people want to idealistically believe they are, Caitlin was a throwback and that appealed to people." Chendi Carter's infamous hip check on Caitlin Clark. Another chapter in the book focuses on former Chicago Sky guard Chendi Carter's hip check on Clark during a game last June, and the media attention it sparked, with some outlets framing it as a debate about race and privilege in the WNBA. Brennan notes Clark's maturity and professionalism when addressing the media following the incident and how she didn't make the moment bigger than what it was. "It just shows who she is and how she was raised and the character that she has." Former Iowa teammate Kate Martin is quoted in the book. "She would never say a bad word about anybody and she would never make excuses for herself. And that's what makes her great, and that's something that I love about her. It doesn't matter if it's a flagrant foul or whatever, she's gonna hop right back up and continue to do her thing and never let anything stop her." The author also spoke with 10-time WNBA All-Star and Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings for the book and got her perspective on the hip check incident and the subsequent reaction from Carter's teammate, Angel Reese. The moment Carter plowed into Clark television cameras caught the former LSU star, who was on the bench at the time, enthusiastically cheering for her teammates' aggressive play. "The cheap shot, I don't agree with that, especially that's where injuries happen. That's not a basketball play," Catchings said. "Angel has got to be herself, but there's got to be a maturity level from all of our rookies. As you grow in this game and as you become more mature, you understand what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And you learn from the mistakes that you make. Angel hopefully has the right people around her that are like, hey, you know what, not cool right there. And how do you adjust, and how do you learn from the situation?